Hey, welcome to FamFic. This is Janet, and I'm here with Bethany and Ant, and today we're going to be discussing our top 5 movies of 2017. So let's get into this. Ant, what's your number 5?
My number 5 is Thor Ragnarok. And why I like it
Why am I not surprised?
is because I like the music. I like Thor. It has that Marvel comedy in it. And there's a ton of the Hulk.
Okay, and everybody out there has to know that right after we saw the movie the first time, he sat there and played what's that song called from Thor?
The Immigrant Song.
Yes, the Immigrant Song on his guitar for like 3 days in a row.
It's a fun song to play, and it's real easy to play too. But okay, yeah, that's mine.
Okay, go Bethany. What's your number 5?
My number 5 was Wonder Woman, and the reason why I like it is because it has Wonder Woman in it, and I haven't really, she's one of my favorites in DC. She's my favorite hero in DC, and I was really excited to see how Gal Gadot played her character, even though she didn't technically look like Wonder Woman. I thought she was pretty good, and it was actually just because it was one of the new movies coming out, and I needed something to do.
My number 5 on my top 5 list is Mayhem, directed by Joe Lynch. Starring, how do you say her name again, Aunt?
Samara Weaving.
Samara Weaving and Steven
Samara.
Yeun. It was an awesome movie. The characters in it were great. The soundtrack was incredible. It makes you feel afraid. It makes you laugh. It's a roller coaster. If you haven't seen it, go rent it, go buy it, watch it. It's great.
That's all you have to say about it?
Yep.
Oh, and it's nothing like the Belko experiment.
Oh yeah, it's nothing like the Belko experiment.
Okay, so that's your number 5.
Sure. Good luck with that.
And that's it? Oh, and shout out to Joe Lynch.
Yes, definitely a shout out to Joe Lynch. He's awesome. We love Joe. We've met him several times. We got to see the movie at the Beyond Fest. That's the first time I saw it, where my wonderful husband took me. And Joe Lynch was doing a Q&A after the movie was done playing, and it was really cool. Interesting conversation.
Yeah. Okay. Bethany, what's your number 4?
Let me look here at my trusty list. My number 4 was Baby Driver. And the only reason why Baby Driver is my number 4 was because I liked it a lot. It was actually just one of those movies that, if, once you got it, after it was out of theaters, you could just sit there and watch it and not get bored. It was just so good. The beginning was amazing, and I loved all the music that they had in there. It was just really good.
Great movie. Great
Yes.
movie. And my number 4 was John Wick Chapter 2. Because the John Wick series is awesome. It's a nice follow-up to the first one. The music was great. And Keanu Reeves was great.
My number 4 was Logan. And the reason why was because it was the first superhero movie I've ever seen that actually made me cry. I love the scene at the end of the movie between Logan and Laura. I thought it was really moving, the sacrifice that he made, and I was really happy for Logan that it was kind of like I was crying tears of joy for him, because he's seen so many people that he was close to die over and over and over again because he's lived forever, and I was just really, it was a moving moment. So yeah, that's my number 4.
My number 3 was Logan, actually, just like my mom, and the reason why it's my number 3 is because that was the one superhero movie that almost made me cry. It made me feel very sad inside. And then after the movie, I wanted to cry because Logan was dead. So that was just mostly one of the reasons why it's my number 3. It was a really good movie, and I liked the way I was able to see how his relationship between his daughter, who he never really actually met, developed into how, they ended up actually, caring for each other in the end, even though he ended up dying, which was really upsetting. But it was actually a really good movie, and that's, it's just great.
And did you do your number 3, Janet?
Not yet. It's your turn.
Okay. My number 3 is It.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Dun, dun.
My number 3 is your number 3.
Okay, so we can talk about this for a minute.
Okay.
Why'd you like it?
That movie was my number 3 because the chemistry between the kids in the Losers Club was just incredible. You don't get that kind of chemistry every day. It's really rare. And the guy who plays it.
His name is Bill Skarsgård.
Yeah.
He's the one who played Pennywise.
He's incredible. That guy, and I love Tim Curry. I love Tim Curry with all my heart. And I'm not saying his Pennywise wasn't incredible, but that guy's Pennywise scared me way more than Tim Curry's Pennywise. And understandably so, because Tim Curry's Pennywise was made for TV, so he couldn't be as creative with it as Bill Skarsgård.
And plus TV back then was not as edgy as it is now.
No, it wasn't at all.
So they tamed it down quite a bit.
And the comedy, oh my gosh, the comedy in that movie was just incredible.
I liked it. It wasn't scary. I could have done. They did a lot of like jump scares that kind of. I'm not really into jump scares, but I simply liked it just because of Pennywise. Pennywise was awesome.
That scene inside the garage when it's clicking the photos on the wall and he comes into it and I'm claustrophobic, so see, had me crawling up the seats. I wanted to crawl up the seats during that scene.
Okay, so
yeah, it scared me.
That's both our number 3.
My number 2 was Thor Ragnarok. And the reason why it's my favorite is mostly the same reasons why Ant liked it a lot. Was because of the music. The music was really, really good. I loved all the themes in it. And I loved the comedy in it. Comedy was really, really funny. And I actually liked the new villain that they put in there, his sister. I loved her so much.
Played by Kate Blanchett.
Yeah, she was Hella was amazing. That is her name, right? Hella, whatever. But
Hella,
yeah. I loved her so much because even though she was like she looked so old, but literally she was like one of the most fit women I've ever seen in my life. And I actually just loved her character so much. But just because of how much power she radiated and the fact that she was able to break Thor's hammer.
Oh, yeah.
I loved that.
Okay,
she was incredible.
The perfect sibling moment.
I loved her. Thor didn't make my list, but yeah, Kate Blanchett was incredible in that movie.
Yes, it was a good movie.
Okay. My number 2 is by one of my favorite directors, Edgar Wright, and it is Baby Driver. And I chose Baby Driver because I love the music. Big fan of Edgar Wright. The whole cast was really great in it, and the driving scenes were pretty awesome. Like Janet said, well, she said this off the recording. Like the first 7 minutes it just sucks you in.
Yeah.
And then after that, but yeah, that's my number 2.
That movie didn't make my list, but it was absolutely amazing, and I didn't think to put it on my list,
Honorable
but
mention.
it was great.
Yeah,
yeah, I'm giving that an honorable mention.
My honorable
for
mention
sure.
would be Mayhem.
So my number 2 is Wonder Woman, and I've loved Wonder Woman since I can remember, and it was really amazing to see that character brought to life on the big screen. Not just, I loved her from when Linda Carter played her back in the 70s, because I'm a 70s kid, and 70s and 80s kid, and I grew up watching that show, and I had the Wonder Woman underoos, but the biggest reason why I love that movie was just how tough, but at the same time feminine and caring, and I don't know how the words to put it in, but she just had this quality about her that I felt like as a female, because all women feel like they want to save the world, and that scene where she goes into no man's land and she just stands, like her whole reasoning behind it, these people are suffering, we have to save all of them, it made me cry watching that scene, and I just thought it was beautiful. Now for our number 1 pick. Bethany, what was your number 1?
My number 1 pick, I don't even have to look at my list for this, was It. Because I love horror movies. I have since I was really little. I just love horror movies. I enjoy being scared, and I have no idea why. But I love horror movies, and when I first watched, I watched the original It on a bet. Aunt bet me that I couldn't watch it without being scared. He paid me $10 because I won. But, and then whenever I watched this new one, I actually got scared because, I don't know if anybody has seen it yet. You probably have, because 2017 has already passed. You should have seen it. But whenever, Georgie got his arm bit off, which wasn't shown in the first movie, I actually wanted to cry because I felt so bad for that poor little boy. And also, just, there were so many jump scares in that movie that scared me to bits. It made me so scared to actually go to bed the night that we went to go see it.
Bill Skarsgård,
Yes.
the ultimate Pennywise.
He looks pretty good outside of that comic book, though. Not gonna lie.
Okay, Aunt, what's your number one?
My number one is Logan. Because this is the Wolverine. I'm not the hugest Wolverine fan, but I think everyone who's been watching the X-Men movies has finally got the Wolverine or the Logan that they wanted. He was vicious. He cussed. It was bloody. And yeah, that's basically, and it had a great story too. Nice send off for the character. But yeah, it was emotional.
Oh god.
I love it. And that's it.
Okay, and my number one was
There
Star
we
Wars
go.
The Last Jedi. I know a lot of people are hating on this movie right now. The fan base is like divided. I kind of understand how people who are hating on it feel, because when I was a kid, my thoughts on the Return of the Jedi, the things that I wondered the most about were, who are Luke and Leia's mother? You know, how did Darth Vader fall to the dark side? And I had like almost 20 years to build up my own little story in my head, because we didn't know we were going to get prequels. And then when the prequels came out, like, I always thought that Luke and Leia's mom was going to be like this really cool Jedi princess, warrior, whatever, and be Anakin's equal. And she wasn't. And nothing that I thought would happen in those movies happened. And I hated them. So I understand why some people may not like The Last Jedi, but I absolutely loved it for nostalgic reasons. And the biggest reason I love it is because of Rey and Kylo Ren, because for me, they are what I wanted Anakin and Padme to be in the prequels. And they're just, and the two actors have just this incredible chemistry. Anybody who listens to our podcast will know that I do love Reylo. I do love the Reylo theory. And they did an outstanding job. That movie was a romantic tragedy, and the end of it just ate my guts up. I didn't want her to be with him. The way he acted at the end of the movie, it was horrible. But it was so sad to see both of them like tore up because they just couldn't be together. And they really wanted to be together. But I thought it was beautiful, and it was very nostalgic for me. Like I said, like 40 years of waiting for this movie to come out. So that's why it's my number one.
So that's our top 5 movies of 2017. Comment your top 5 movies of 2017. And here's Janet with our top comment from our last video.
So the last video was on Reylo from Star Wars The Last Jedi. My brother left a comment telling us that it was a Greek tragedy. I responded back to him saying, no, it's a fairy tale. But we really loved Pride Ed from BBI/BBR, who said, that's what makes it even better. It's both like a Greek tragedy and a fairy tale put together. That was beautiful. Thank you so much, Pride Ed. Thanks for hanging out with us today. You can find us at, you can find me at Tumblr as Misconduct and Instagram as Misconduct75. Where can they find you, Ant?
They can find me on Instagram as Solid Ant.
We'll also post links to our pages in the description below.
Bethany's name was too long, so she didn't want to say it. She'll just leave a link.
Yeah. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell so that whenever we post a video, you will be able to get notifications and be able to watch it as soon as you want if you're like extremely huge weird fans. Yeah. Have fun with that. Bye.
Bye, everybody.